fuck's happening. I have zero idea what the fuck is happening. But it did happen. Was I entertained? You bet. Did I understand why? No. It was like watching a really good mime performance, you know? Like, you just sit there and kind of vibe, but you have no fucking clue what's going on, and, like, you're just glad that you're not being singled out for audience participation.
Welcome to Mortified, the Friendship Quest, a podcast where two long-distance friends bounce media recommendations, all in hopes the other will like it. I'm Aaron.
And I'm a volleyball on a stick.
And this week, we attempt our most experimental episode yet as we discuss the Haikyuu Stage play. Before we dust off our Japanese to Italian to English dictionaries, remember you can help us on Mortified the Legitimacy Quest by subscribing to us on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, signing up for our monthly newsletter through the link in our show notes, or following us on Twitter at MortifiedPod. Leyla. So last week we promised our dear score listeners fun adventure similar to our old episode that we did about the Naruto stage play, about the Haikyuu anime, you know, that fun volleyball show with all the good boys across no high. We promised and we thought that we were going to have a delightful, high energy romp that was completely understood by both of us. Unfortunately, as it turns out, the Haikyuu stage play is not quite as widely available as the Naruto one. And we got what we didn't watch all of it. There's just one small problem.
It was in two languages that we did not understand.
Listen, between our love of anime and my Spanish minor, I think we can understand these Italian subtitles just fine.
I understood Mamma Mia.
They did throw a Mamma Mia. My favorite one, personally, when they were talking about the tiny giant, but they translated it into Piccolo Gigante. And I was like, oh, we're fucking in it now. Oh,
Piccolo Gigante is just like a giant piccolo that I will be playing for the rest of time.
It's one of the seasons of Dragonball Z that nobody likes.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z super villain, Super Saiyan.
Oh god. Okay, so when we discovered that this was not in English, or any of the languages that we understand, Leyla pitched this to me as, well, people like opera, so this is probably a good idea. And I said, yeah, that makes sense. And then Leyla revealed to me 5 minutes ago that, like, yeah, opera's, of course, translated into the language that the audience understands.
It's not translated, it is subtitled. And I only just found this out after I pitched this to him like this, because I found it out like 2 days after, and I was like, I can't tell him. So I kept it a secret. I kept it to myself. So apparently when you go to an opera performance, there's like a screen above the stage with subtitles of what's going on. Like karaoke style.
But we both watched operas! We both knew that! We just had this conversation. You said that you watched it on the Met, and they would have subtitled it for you. And I've been to an opera where I remember they had subtitles, and I'm just like, yeah, people just go to operas and they don't understand what's going on. Fucking moron.
To be fair, I watched a recording of an opera, so of course that was subtitled. I watched La Traviata and Carmen, and both of those were subtitled.
I'm just disappointed in us.
You should not be. I can't feel any negative emotion in my cosplay Karasuno High crop top that I'm wearing right now.
As soon as we turned video chat on, Leyla was like, oh, hold on, I gotta do something. And when she turned it back on again, she had this Karasuno crop top, number 10, of course, for our favorite Hinata.
I will tell you, I was looking at buying number 9, but this is definitely just like this was like a cheap, I had an Amazon gift card kind of thing, and I needed a crop top to walk my dog in, and I was like in my Haikyuu, like high. So I was looking at number 9 because, of course, my boy Kageyama's my favorite because he sucks a little bit, and you know how I love characters that suck a little bit.
Yeah, it's your thing.
But unfortunately, the 9 font pissed me off. Like, it wasn't like a Jersey Sports number 9, that blocky. It was like cursive 9. I was like, no, not in my house. No. So we had to go with the 10. But in spirit, I would be wearing, maybe someday when I have a cosplay budget, I'll get a decent Kageyama jersey.
One day. Donate to our Patreon, and that's how we're going to get a full cosplay podcast for your ears only.
Tell your fucking friends that we have a podcast so they can listen to it, and then maybe someday we'll start a Patreon, and then as Aaron and I were joking before the show, maybe we'll do like a small bar show in your town live, and I'll show up in my Haikyuu crop top.
Yeah, and I'll show up in some various Kingdom Hearts cosplay. It'll be great.
Oh yeah, the adult Walmart one.
Yes, exactly. The ones that look awful and terrible, that one.
With the paper wig, yeah.
Oh, of course. So here's the thing, Leyla, about how much of this did you actually understand?
I understood the soul and the spirit of the performance.
Very good. I mean, mission accomplished, right? Like, that's what we were kind of going for. It's just like the vibe, the mood.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there was like enough crossover with French where I like got a little bit. And then I also have watched so much anime that there are some phrases that I'm just like, oh, I know what that means.
Yeah, like when they're like, oh, daijoubu, or like, hi, or like, yeah, there's some ones where it's like, oh, okay, I can sort of piece this together from context. And like, that was my experience too. I was like, well, my Spanish and Italian don't have quite as much crossover as I like, but there was one where I was like, okay, he says he's got a lot of saltar. What is saltar? And then like he does it again. I was like, oh, saltar means to jump. And I was like, that makes sense because Hinata's whole thing is jumping super high. So like
he is a little jumping bean.
I'd say maybe 30% understand, 35%.
Yeah, which okay, listen. So like this is a very dance battle heavy production. So like for the dance battles, that wasn't a problem. However, there were moments where there were clearly dramatic dialogues, especially as they were trying to get some of the upperclassmen back on the team, which is something we know is happening because we both watched season 1 of the show. And what would happen is they would say something really dramatic and then like shonen battle music would start playing, and I'm like, golly, I wish I knew what triggered the fucking battle sequence we're about to have. Too bad I don't know what's happening because I speak neither Italian or Japanese. I speak Russian and German.
Great. I mean, that's great. Listen, we're all proud of you for being extremely multilingual. Unfortunately, it did not help you in this situation. God, there is this one part where they're like at the restaurant and they're all sad, or because like I guess they can't get Daichi to join the team. But then, like, something happens, there's, like, an extended dialogue sequence, and then the table, like, explodes, right?
Yes.
And then, like, they're doing magic tricks on Hinata. Like, they pull the tablecloth over him, and then they reveal him. He's, like, got a silly face on. It was really good. I was like, what is happening?
No clue what the fuck's happening. I have zero idea what the fuck is happening. But it did happen. Was I entertained? You bet. Did I understand why? No. It was like watching a really good mime performance, you know? Like, you just sit there and kind of vibe, but you have no fucking clue what's going on, and, like, you're just glad that you're not being singled out for audience participation.
Some people did get singled out for audience participation, which was unfortunate for them.
Yeah, thank God it wasn't, like, an American tourist, because that would have been... Because, like, okay... You know that some, like, good old-fashioned American weebs go to this shit, right? So, like, they gotta ham it up so that the Americans can kind of understand, even though they can't, like, understand. So, thankfully, the performers were, like, really hamming it up. They looked like they were having a great fucking time.
It was the most, like, anime... like the live action I've ever seen. Like we talked about, you know, Full Metal Alchemist a couple weeks ago, and like the energy was completely different. I think if the FMA Brotherhood live action show had brought that kind of same energy, just like complete, you know, melodrama, that the way that these people did, I think it would have just like sold it so much better.
Yeah, oh my god, that's actually a really good point, because I think there were parts of the FMA live action where, like, they did kind of buy into the anime melodrama. Like, the actor who played Edward was in it to win it, baby! B, he was there. He had his full, like, big head swings. He had his big boy anime voice. It was great. I loved him very much. But the guy who played Mustang thought he was in, like, a serious movie. And I was like, no.
No, you can't pull this fucking Shakespearean actor shit. Like, I don't care where you went to school. Like, you just have to chew the scenery constantly. That's the kind of medium you're in, dude.
You have to ham it up so fucking hard. I'm gonna make you watch the Death Note movie for Halloween. You're gonna watch it.
Please don't do this to me.
No, you're watching it. Anne's just watched it, which means now you have to. How does that make it that you have to? It just does.
How come? Because someone else has suffered, now I have to suffer more.
Yeah, well, listen, that's how my friend groups work. You have to, we're all in this together.
We should watch High School Musical for our next one.
That would be so much fun, actually. High School Musical was delightful. But yeah, so that was the problem with the Death Note movie, too, is like some of these actors were like, we're in a serious, like, morality tale, and then just the guy who plays L and the guy who plays Ryuk are having the greatest fucking time of all. And they are the only people that make that film enjoyable, much like in Full Metal Alchemist, like, very select actors made this enjoyable. Everyone in this stage play, every fucking one of them was in it to win it, and I appreciate that fucking energy.
I mean, I think they had to be, right? Just the fact that it was all so reliant on choreography alone, like, they had to 100% put everything into it. Like, you can't play actual volleyball on a stage. As much as I would love to see that, they had to simulate some aspects of it. That's why...
Well, you could, but it would be very boring.
I guess that's true. They dramatized it in a way that I thought was really interesting, and the way that sort of played on Haikyuu's, you know, the things that make Haikyuu fun. Like, I don't care about real life volleyball until I watched Haikyuu. I didn't care because, like, Haikyuu brings that human drama and, like, that, you know, that anime intensity and emotional, like, highs and lows. And they were able to convey that in a way just because of, like, the dance battles were very frenetic. I think the choreography was very impressive. As somebody who does not care for dance at all, I thought it was pretty cool. Just, like, you know, the ways that they like had to cross over and kept flying over and doing all these coordinated jumps to simulate spikes and serves and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so let's clear it up for our listeners, because you can find clips of this, by the way, on YouTube. It is super worthwhile, but let's just clear up, like, this happens, like, on a regular size, like, theater stage, and nets are optional. It really depends on what moment in the story you're in. There are sometimes not even nets. Sometimes it's literally just a dance battle. And then sometimes for dramatic effect or to, like, shift the perspective, there will be two dudes in, like, white costumes on either side just lowering and raising the net when necessary. Sometimes the volleyball is either... Aaron suspects remote controlled. Sometimes it's actually being thrown. Sometimes it's being passed along by the people in white. And then sometimes there's a dude who walks in with a volleyball on a stick and runs it back and forth if the volleyball, like, choreo itself needs to be coordinated. And it is just such a delight to watch because, like, again, it's a stage. They're not marking it up. If the chord is shifting, there's no way you can mark up a stage in a static way. So what do? They use lighting to simulate a ball approaching and departing. If there's no ball involved in the volleyball, like, the shadow will just get smaller, Kageyama will bounce it back, and then the shadow will get bigger again. Extremely cool. Sometimes the good boys are running, and to simulate them going a greater distance than they actually are, there will be just, like, flashing stripes of light going across them to, like, simulate the lines of the court. Extremely cool shit.
Oh, it looked great. I mean, you're the artist. You probably have a better understanding and appreciation for the ways in which they used that perspective. But just as a layperson, I thought it was really sick. All the ways that in which the shadow, like, got really small, and then, like, when the actor would do the jump serve, it would get, like, really big. And then I think also a thing that you pointed out in your notes was that the way that they used that back projection to simulate manga panels. But also, like, still had, like, live video or pre-recorded video that sort of simulated the actors' faces in that moment. I think it really brought it together and made it, like, a very impressive visual spectacle.
Yes, like sometimes they would literally have like manga speech bubbles in the background or like use like almost moving panels. Did you ever watch Newsies when it was on Broadway or when it was touring?
I've seen the movie. That's about it.
Okay. No offense to the fantastic actors that are in that show or the production crew, but it's not a good show. I saw it live in Rochester in 2016, and I did not have a good time. They tried to do the projection screen thing, but it was not used well, which kind of turned me off of the idea of it for a really long time. But, like, this is how you do it. If you're gonna do it, this is how you do it. There's this one moment, I like the part in your notes where I think you likened it to, or you pointed out that there was like a lot of romantic tension between the actor who plays Kageyama and the actor who plays Hinata, and all I could think about was Kingdom Hearts and like Riku and Sora, because Kageyama starts having this like mental breakdown on the court almost, and like they use the projection screen so that when Hinata reaches for him, like glass shatters and there's this like white light, almost like the tutorial level of Kingdom Hearts, and they like reach for each other. I'm like, the fucking melodrama of this is just so incredible. Like, what a great way to use a medium.
It's interesting, right? I don't want to read homosexuality into a piece where it is not actually represented, unless you wrote it gay, in which case you can read Layla's essay about that. But like there are instances, and I think that's just a byproduct of the fact that this medium has to be this high energy and very, very dramatic and hammed up, that like they get their faces very close to each other and there's a lot of dramatic shouting dialogue. And like, I mean, again, with the Nishinoya and Asahi, right, there's a lot of like, how could you do this, my friend? And like, I'm not going to do this without you. And like the whole, there is an instance where, I'm thinking Kageyama and one character that I had to look up because I was like, I don't remember him in Haikyuu, and then I looked up his name. I think it's Inoshida, and I was like, I don't know who this man is.
Inoshida shines in like season 3 or some shit.
I gotta get to the later seasons, but they get their faces really close together, and like it looks like they're gonna kiss, and like I don't know what the framing is supposed to convey in that, but I do think it's interesting the ways in which they heighten the romantic tension between everyone. Maybe it's because we couldn't understand the dialogue, but it did look extremely horny.
Well, I think one of my later notes was like, there's something about it being in Italian, and there's one point where Kageyama's like narrating what Hinata's doing. I'm like, he's narrating an interpretive dance in Italian, which is just kind of inherently romantic. No, I feel you though. Like, Haikyuu is one of those, it's one of those franchises where like, I don't really concern myself with quote-unquote shipping, partially because they're like high schoolers and partially because it's just like a fun friend story. But listen, I have female friends and sometimes we get a little homoerotic, and I think it's okay to make fun of that.
That's fair.
We get a little straight female friends. I mean, I'm a queer person, so there are times I can't say I flirt with women. I freeze up around women, but like, there's potential for romantic interaction there. But like with my friends, it's just friendly. But sometimes we do get a little up in each other's faces for fun. But so yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think it's not to read. It's just funny. It's the way they frame it is very melodramatic and very funny, and it makes me laugh. And that kind of helped me through the not knowing what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely parts where the fact that we didn't understand what was happening kind of definitely hurt our experience. Like, I feel like the Alba Josai game in particular just dragged on. Like, this was a 2-hour production, and I think the Alba Josai game took up, like, at least 40 minutes of it. And, like, I don't know. Maybe that's because they had a lot of narrative stuff to get through, but there were parts of it where I was like, I just don't know. I mean, they're trying to convey Hinata and Kageyama's like, coordination and working together and sort of figuring out, the team growing together and becoming stronger. But there was a lot of dialogue that I was just like, man, they're really, really doing some stuff. And then also they added the Asahi Noya arc right there, like 30 minutes before the show ended. And I was like, I I don't know. Like, narratively, I don't think that's a good choice, but like, it also has to take into account the meta narrative, which is that if you're going to the Haikyuu stage play, you probably know what the fuck's going on, so you probably don't care about, introducing important characters in Act 3.
Yeah, no, for real. I was thinking about this too, and you also have to consider that this is not the only Haikyuu stage play. Like, it follows the whole series. Like, they have one for the rest of the series, so like, it doesn't matter that this isn't like a complete 3-step narrative arc because they're really just tracking the show. And so that was fine. But I agree with you. There are some parts that drag, which is funny because there is a game in one of the later seasons. I think it is an Albatross game. It goes on for 3 or 4 or 5 episodes. Like, it eats a good chunk of the season, but it doesn't feel like it does. And I'm betting, just a hunch, but that was because I knew what they were saying in the dialogue when they were talking.
Anime is a medium in which there's a lot of internal monologuing, and like the plays that happen that would probably take like 5 seconds in real life can take, between 2 and 3 minutes because people are like, oh no, let me have a flashback to the time that I couldn't spike over the walls of date tech. And then my friend got mad at me, and then I had to drop out of the high school volleyball club for a month. And like, that all happens in the space of like, 5 seconds. I don't think we're going to be super critical of the fact that sometimes we just didn't know what's going on, and that's okay.
Well, it's like D&D, right? Because each turn in combat is 6 seconds.
Yeah.
But, like, is it really?
Yeah, sometimes it's just like, I'm going to have a whole dialogue to myself.
It's not. You got to figure shit out with the DM. You got to figure out which dice to roll. There's things that happen. The antagonist has to say something. Like, it's truly like the melodrama. It gets milked.
Yeah. And I think that's an important thing. I've been watching a lot of like YouTube videos and also, unfortunately, the Marvel movies that talk about cinema, and like there is a way to be like, okay, obviously stuff like this wouldn't happen in real life. Like, oh, if all these superheroes were fighting Thanos, like they would of course kicked his ass because of these powers, but like that's not really the point, right? We have to be so careful when we nitpick media, and like. I think that, especially for people like us who care more about narrative than anything else, I think that is important. That narrative is more important than like necessarily like, oh, whose character, like who cares abilities, like in Haikyuu, who's would actually be able to spike better or jump higher. Like, the point is not necessarily to represent a character accurately; it's to weave an important story. So I think that this show accomplished that.
Well, it's either to weave an important story or get 900 episodes in and just keep leveling up your protagonist until he's kind of a god fox.
What is that? What is that a reference to?
What is the forbidden reference on the show?
Okay, yeah. Listen, that show doesn't have 900 episodes. It has 3 different shows, each with 400 episodes. There's a difference.
So sorry.
If you want to talk about 900 episodes, you got to go to One Piece.
That's true. That's another, keep leveling up your protagonist and see what happens. Dragonball Z, similar story, though I think only 200 episodes?
I don't know. I feel like Dragon Ball Z probably got to Cindy, so yeah, probably 100 too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, season 4 is like 40 episodes, so definitely. Or season 1 is like 40 episodes.
Anyway, yeah, no, it is. It's more important to weave the story, you're right. And I think sometimes people who do like quote-unquote media analysis kind of forget that and get lost in technicalities, which I do too, but usually when I get lost in the technicalities, I do it because I'm already bored of the thing I'm watching and the story didn't work on me, so I'm like, whatever. But Haikyuu works on me, even when I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I love seeing that little boy jump. I love seeing all those like dudes in white come out and lift him up for the really, really high jumps. I thought that was delightful.
Yeah. The stage play stuff really did enhance the experience. Like, right, even though you don't know what's happening during the Alba Josei game, you're like, where the fuck's Oikawa? I know he's coming on. And then when he comes on, you're like, this motherfucker. And the way that they introduced him was like with a fucking like K-pop style entrance. Like, they had the like shadows come behind him, and then like he was literally like blowing kisses to the audience, and like the projection changed, so he was doing his jump serve like super cool. Like, that was really, really good.
Well, when Aoba Joysai gets introduced, like, as a concept, they get this, like, K-pop ass entrance, too. Like, they appear in blue light in the background, all standing like the Backstreet Boys. It's incredible. Like, it's really good.
It kicks ass. There are a lot of really good points. Like, there's a part where, like, when Hinata first meets Kageyama is literally wearing a crown and a cape, like, on stage in costume, and then, like, seconds later, it's discarded, but, like, their willingness to commit to that imagery is so fun.
So good. And also, something we talked about in the Naruto Shippuden Stage Spectacular was these shows have openings. They have anime openings. This one was fucking incredible. Like, it's all the teams on at once talking about volleyball. And I was like, I got chills. I was like, damn, volleyball's really important. You're right. This is awesome. This is great. Haikyuu, volleyball. Those are the two words I understood. So, like, truly, they bought in. The production bought in. The actors bought in. And so, like, even though we were like, what's going on? It was still, like, fun to watch 82% of the time.
Yeah, honestly, that's all you can ask for. If you are doing something where you're having fun and everyone's just high energy and you can convey an emotion and a mood even without language, like, that's impressive in its own right. Clearly, we were not the audience for either the stage play or the translation, but we still were able to enjoy it, so that's something.
That's truly something. And, like, again, it's a matter of also, like, picking your source material really wisely, right? So, like, Naruto, excellent source material, because Naruto is an idiot and very melodramatic. You can do a lot of cool shit with it. Haikyuu, great source material. I would love to see a Dragon Ball Z stage play.
That's got to exist, right? That's got to exist. All right, to Google.
Google! I love our mid-show Googles. It's
important.
Dragon Ball. I have a mechanical keyboard. You can hear me typing. That's how you know it's really happening. Did you ever watch the American film adaptation of Dragon Ball Z?
Oh, the really bad one?
Yeah.
Yes, I watched it with my roommate in college. It was fucked up. It was really bad, yeah.
I watched it in theaters.
Oh, no.
Dragon Ball Kai Super Battle Stage.
Oh, Christ. Of course. Of course there is.
It looks... There are... Ooh.
Uh-oh. Is that a good noise?
No. So they're in... Oh, no.
This sounds like it's about to be a milkshake Super Saiyan.
Here's the thing. They appear to be in, like, Disneyland-style anime blow-up costumes. So they're not, like, actors.
Oh.
They look like they're anime people. Let me drop some pictures in the chat for you. So... There's Vegeta.
Wow.
Bulma.
I thought this was a GameCube PNG for a second. Oh no, that's Bulma, and she cannot blink.
That's terrifying. Wait, hold on. Really good one coming up. Yeah.
Broly? Oh my god, you can see the styrofoam falling out of him!
So fairly, Dragon Ball Kai Super Battle Stage was played as a part of set of 3 separate live-action battle shows. The 3 Great Heroes Super Battle Stage held in Greenland Amusement Park. The 3 shows ran from March 13th to June 2010, with each show running approximately 30 minutes. Of the 3 battle shows, Dragon Ball Kai Super Battle Stage was the only anime series depicted, as the other 2 were tokusatsu series, according to dragonball.fandom.com.
Well, I guess it just goes to show you that if you have a popular shonen adaptation, eventually it will become a musical.
Oh God! If this was a musical, Christ, the Kamehameha would have to be like a duet, like a big ballad. That would be wild.
I would love that. Leyla, what is something that is not an anime that you would like to be converted into a similar stage projection play?
Similar stage projection. Ooh,
it's not technically a musical because there is dancing and choreography, but not a whole lot of singing.
Right. The Witcher. Netflix is The Witcher.
Wow.
I want a stage projection adaptation of a TV show adaptation of a game adaptation of a book.
Wow, this is like an onion with so many layers.
Yeah. Well, listen. It's just I mostly want to see somebody with Henry Cavill thighs on stage.
Okay, all right, bonk. Get out of here.
It's only one reason to watch that. What about you? Do you have a less horny pick, I guess?
I mean, my instinct was Kipo.
Kipo would be so fun.
Yeah.
Rad Secrets, get on this.
I feel like Kipo might work better just as a straight up musical though, because you do need big props. I do want like a big paper mache Mega Jaguar. So
that would be fun. Or like in BNA, that big machine.
Yeah, like the big
White Wolf thing.
Yeah, something like that. Oh God, media's good. I don't know if we've talked about this, but consuming media that is meant for entertainment, that's fun.
Yeah, it's really fun to like have fun watching something. I know this is new.
Yeah.
A new concept.
Do people not know about media?
I don't.
Like music and like plays and video games? Like, people should do that more, I think.
I agree. I think it's great and neat and sometimes makes you feel things. And it doesn't always have to be rage. Sometimes you could just have a laugh with your buddies.
Yeah. We should perhaps tell more people about media. We should start
a podcast.
What if we made this podcast into a stage play?
Okay, that would be fucking hilarious. But also, if you tell your friends this podcast exists, maybe someday we can do a projection show live in your town, which is a dream of mine. Please let me perform.
That would be extremely good. I don't know who would play me, but they would have to be me with my longest hair possible, which is just like a small little cushion, a huge hair poof. I would love that for my actor.
Well, didn't you say on Twitter that like if Dev Patel wanted to commit to some floofiness?
Yes, if Dev Patel, I know he's got a whole like a very good mane going on, but if he wants to go vertical instead of horizontal, like we can work something out, man. Hit me up.
Yeah, if you're like a young Gentile Fran Drescher, I just need like someone who can really portray some casual melodrama, and then I think we'll be a go.
Excellent. Great. This is good.
Yeah.
All of our marketing is really paying off. We'll be seeing dividends in no time. Cannot wait
absolutely.
to tell everybody about the stage play of the podcast where we review stage plays. This is going to be good.
Yeah, it has to be a stage play of our review of the Naruto Shippuden stage spectacular.
It's just two people sitting at laptops and occasionally going, "What?"
While the actual Naruto Shippuden stage spectacular
is projected in the background. Yes, of course. Fuck, we're good at this. Some media company give us $12 million. We'll make the greatest thing you've ever seen. Holy shit.
It'll sell so hard to like the nichest possible audience. And you know what? That's how you do it in a media saturation market.
That's right.
You go for quality of fan, not for quantity of fan.
And we all know that you out there listening are the highest quality of fans. So we
the highest.
So we definitely appreciate you all indulging us on this one. I don't think, unfortunately, we didn't understand most of the dialogue, so we can't dig into that. But I think we had a good time talking about it. So we're going to probably call this one a little bit early.
This one's a loose one. And you know what? That's okay. I think it's okay for us to be a little loose sometimes. It's our 1-year podcast anniversary. So if anything, we've learned that we will fucking show up on Sunday. We will hop on Discord and we will talk for at least 30 minutes, which was admittedly our goal today. And guess what? We reached it.
Fucking crushed it. We're professional podcasters. McElroy's come at us.
come at us. Congratulations on your new baby griffin.
Yeah,
Aaron, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on the internet at AaronSXL. You can listen to the other podcast I do at The Bible Boys. We just released an episode about Heaven is for Real, which is one of my favorites that we've ever done. And we're about to record an episode about the 2019 documentary Hail Satan. So that's going to be a fun one. I'm sure all of you budding Satanists out there would love to listen to that. Leyla, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm at LEYLSES on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. I'm currently moving, so the socials are a little quiet, but tune in like May when I'm back to doing stuff.
Definitely do that. Our theme song is Obsolete by Keshko from the album Filmmakers Reference Kit Volume 2. Find more of their music at keshko.bandcamp.com. Leyla, what are we going to do for this closer?
Mamma mia!
Ain't that the truth? We'll see you all next week. God.
35 minutes!